to all of you here in the studio audience at the Studio Kitchens at our East End campus, where the kitchens at Reynolds is located. We are here with a brand new episode of Dishin' with Paula with Reynolds Community College's president, Dr. Paula Pando. I'm Lindsay Robinson, the new Vice President of Institutional Advancement for the college.
New-ish.
I've got a semester under my belt, so very, very happy to be here. And what are we making today, Dr. Pando?
All right, Lindsay. Well, welcome everybody. Happy to see you. Happy New Year. 24 is going to be a great one. I feel it. Today we're making meatballs, but what I also think about with meatballs, it really is kind of when my family invites me to any occasion back in New Jersey, I'm not allowed to walk in unless I have a big pot of meatballs. It's my thing. People seem to like them a lot. I think they're delicious. This is one of those things that I can literally make with my eyes closed because I make them so much because it seems to be a requirement for me to enter my family's house for any occasion.
Well, I'm really excited because in my house, meatballs are a love language.
Yes.
So the way to my husband and my children's heart is through good meatballs. So I'll be taking very good notes today while you're cooking.
All right. Well, I must say, I learned to make meatballs by a chef who was trained in Tuscany. And so one of the things that I won't say is unique, but different than some of the recipes is I do not put raw onions or raw garlic into the mix. And so what I begin with, well, let me start with what's in these meatballs. So you have half a pound of pork, half a pound of ground beef, half a pound of veal. Really important. Now, this is all half. I got to tell you, when I make them, everything is double. So I have to have at least 50 meatballs. We have a cup of Parmesan cheese, a cup of breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, 1 whole onion, 2 cloves of garlic, salt, because food needs seasoning, some crushed pepper, little parsley, water's really important, and just a little olive oil to start cooking. So that's what we're going to start to do. Lindsay, we're going to start cooking.
Okay.
I'm going to take a little olive oil and let that heat up in the pan. So we can chat while that's just heating up a little bit.
Well, while that's heating up then, we just talked about it is the new year, 2024. We're very excited. Why don't you tell us what you're looking forward to for the new year?
Oh gosh, you know, I have such big dreams for our college, big dreams for our students, for our faculty and staff. As you know, Lindsay, we've embarked on some pretty significant work at the college that is hyper laser focused on student success, truly pulling out all of the stops with a great partnership with Achieving the Dream and the plans that we have put in place to really help our students cross that finish line. I'm very excited about that. Investments in our faculty, investments in our facilities, plural, that I think will really pay off. Investment in our staff, in their professional development, trying new things. I'm excited about, when I think about 2024, I think about execution. There's been a lot of planning, a lot of investing, a lot of resourcing, find the right resources for our priorities. And this year to me is all about let's go, let's get it done.
Awesome. Yes, it's been fun in this first semester of my time at Reynolds, really seeing the tail end of all that planning come to fruition. So I'm excited to see it as it all starts coming together.
And I will tell you, Lindsay, I shared with our at a town hall meeting at the end of the year last year in 23. Kind of all of the things that I was so incredibly proud of, and I've never felt so energized, and I've never seen such collaboration across our college community, units, roles, rank, truly the work of our college. That again, this year for me, it's all about execution.
Awesome.
So you can see I am just sauteing the onions, and I'm just going to let them get a little bit translucent. I'm not looking to fully caramelize them. I have them at medium-high heat, and what I learned from said chef in Tuscany, that you have to season every layer of food. So some people are like, oh, I'll make up for it. I'll just put more salt in the sauce. No, you'll end up with bland meatballs and really salty sauce. So season every bit. So this is the one thing I can't give you measurements for. This is one of those, you just throw some salt in it. And when these get softer, again, no raw onions in my meatballs, That's when I'll throw in the garlic, which is just 2 cloves of garlic chopped up. I'll put that on top of there so that it doesn't burn. It has a layer. The onions will protect the garlic from just burning, and burnt garlic is just bitter and gross and nobody wants it. Right, Chef? Burnt garlic. No good. No bueno.
Well, I always think it's fun in environments like this where we can learn a little bit about each other as well. And you and I have something in common, one of our pastimes, which is that we both use the same word to describe one of our hobbies, and that we are both voracious readers. That's right. So maybe we can tell the audience at home some of the books that we've been reading lately. Anything good on your shelf?
Well, I think I have learned that you and I have similar tastes in reading. So I'm typically having 2 books going at the same time. One of them is something, you know, that's just a shot in the arm on leadership, really challenging me to think better, think higher level, think differently. Think Again by Adam Grant was just an extraordinary book. Just finished his other book, Hidden Potential. But the pleasure part is I finished Hello Beautiful, which by Anna Napolitano, a beautiful, beautiful book.
Absolutely.
And I am just starting now Lessons in Chemistry, which has a little bit to do with cooking.
And cooking shows, actually. So very apropos for you mentioning that during this show. I have read both of those pleasure books. Unlike Dr. Pando, I might read a few of those shot in the arm books, but I'm really looking for that pleasure reading to sort of unwind my brain at the end of the night. And I also have 2 books going at all times, one in the car listening to it and one at home reading. And I just finished, if anyone's into crime procedurals, a book called All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Crosby. And it's not for the faint of heart, but it is an excellent read. So, and it takes place in Virginia. So that's an added bonus to those of you who might like to read about things that are happening in locations you recognize.
Well, you know, and the other thing that I'm looking forward to, so, you know, I love to read. Yes, like reading is it's my happiness. It's my alone time. Most people think of me as, you know, an extrovert because I bring a lot of energy to work. And actually the opposite is true. I love time alone. I love quiet time. I leave it all on the field at work. And then when I get home, I want quiet. I need to recharge. Cooking, because this is all that I'm doing at home. Like at home, I'm not doing this, right? Yeah. This is it. This is my whole universe. It's peace. There's usually a little glass of wine on the side, but hey, it's too early for that.
That's right.
Though it is 5 o'clock somewhere. But I love movies as well. And so I'm really looking forward to, I know during the holidays, didn't have a chance, but really looking forward to seeing Color Purple, the musical, and also Wonka, because I was a big Willy Wonka fan with Gene Wilder, just one of my favorite movies of all time in my childhood. So you'll see my onions are, you know, they're nice and getting translucent. Now I've put the garlic in, and I'm just going to let that heat through literally for 1 minute. But what I'm also going to throw in there is just a little pinch of heat. These will not make the meatballs super spicy, but it will get like a little heat to them, which is just really yummy.
Yes. And it smells amazing. I know we haven't gotten very far yet, but there's something really nice about the savories simmering on the oven.
Yeah, in Spanish, we call this our sofrito. It's, you know, it's like the base of everything. You start with onions, you start with garlic, and then whatever else. But it's the sofrito is sacred. I'm hard pressed to think about any dish from Chile that I cook that does not begin with the sofrito. But this is just a little onion and garlic. It's not the Holy Trinity. It's not mirepoix. Just a little onion and garlic action. And that's about a minute. So we're going to let that cool, because this is going to go into our mixture. And clearly, I do not want to burn my hands. If I were a real chef, I'd be able to touch this, because, you know, kind of like lifeguards, their feet don't burn in the sand. Chefs, they can take tremendous heat. I am not one of those people. I'm a pretend chef. So, all right. So now comes the fun part. Clean hands. Again, I have a chef in the audience today, and I think he will co-sign that the chef's best friend are clean hands. Okay. Wow, I do not want my engagement ring nor my wedding band to get gross, so I will put them aside. I highly recommend, if you wear rings, take them off before you do this. So we have that 1/2 pound of pork that goes in, 1/2 pound of beef goes in, and 1/2 pound of veal. I will tell you, I know some folks have problems with veal, but they are so much better meatballs with a little veal just because of the tenderness and so forth. And then you're just going to throw all of this stuff in, nothing fancy. Your cup of Parmesan cheese, your cup of breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, 2 eggs, 2 eggs, like literally all of it goes in. 2 eggs, your parsley, which is a 1/4 cup of chopped parsley, and now you go in.
This is my kid's favorite part.
The squish. The squish.
The squish.
Yes.
Well, while you're squishing, you and I have another thing in common, which is that you and I both have a very big interest in artificial intelligence.
Yes, we do.
And the how just over the past 14 months or so, it has become such a prolific part of the news in the business world, in higher education. So why don't you tell us where you see AI going for Reynolds?
I think, with artificial intelligence, we just need to think about it, the things that are new to us often scare us. But we have to figure out a way to embrace it, at least understand it, how we can utilize it for teaching, for learning, for running routine tasks at the college that then allow our folks the time, the precious time to do higher level work with our students, quite honestly. And I'll say this, Lindsay, and again, I understand kind of that fear factor of like, well, cheating with their work and so forth. We will be really missing the mark if we don't teach our students how to utilize artificial intelligence while they're here, because they will not be prepared for the workforce or transfers as juniors if they don't know how to responsibly and ethically use artificial intelligence. So I think this is cool enough, or at least I hope it is. I'm just, I see it still. Could you pass me that wooden spoon?
Of course.
You? Thank you, thank you.
There you go.
I put my spoon away too quickly to get this off the pan. So we are taking all of that good stuff and putting it in. Okay, I'm going to put this in the sink because we won't need it anymore. Now, for those of you who are suffering from high blood pressure, I apologize right now. This is 1.5 pounds of meat. You got to season the meat. So again, you're going to be kind of generous. I think that's good enough. And then you're going to take and you're going to squish. And thankfully, the onions have cooled down enough that I will still have fingerprints at the end of this episode. So now I'm giving this a good squish. And then a really, again, this chef who taught me how she made her meatballs, and I will give you the name of that chef at the end of the episode. Many of you know who she is. Anyhow, she always told me, or talks about, they need to be a little squishy. You want them to be moist. And so I have there some water. You put that in. You smush it all in, and we're almost done with this mixture that then is going to be put, so you can see, they're nice and squishy. Nice and squishy, well seasoned. Now, sometimes when I'm at home, but again, because I've done this so many times, what I used to do was take a tiny little patty, like a little hamburger, and put it in a pan and cook it to make sure that it was seasoned, right? But I know this now, so I don't need to do the patty trick. But you might want to do that. If you're not sure, take a little patty, because you don't want to, after cooking 40 meatballs, to say they're under seasoned.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to wash my hands one more time, because you don't need to be watching this, putting it on a pan. So we've cleaned up our station, and now this is where tools are important. You can guess how big and so forth, and then have them all uneven, and that's a problem when you're trying to cook something. You want things to be really even. So I have my handy dandy ice cream scooper, and this is the scooper only allowed to be used for meatballs. As I shared with you before, Lindsay, no one wants vanilla ice cream with essence of raw pork. So I have a special scooper that I use for my meatballs. And what I do, this bowl here should make about 20 meatballs. Again, like I said, I usually double it and use the super huge pan. So again, just the scoop, just like that. And what I do is I don't roll them right away. This saves a little time when you just scoop them all onto the pan. So that's 20 meatballs, but I still have a little extra. So that means a couple of the meatballs got robbed. So what I typically do is I look at the smaller ones and I'll add a little bit just to make sure, or if you want, just make 2 extra meatballs. But I like symmetry, order, and let's see, which other guy looks a little small? These 2. Okay, so then what I do is I just very quickly, now they're all on the pan, I just roll them out. Okay, so now that all of the meatballs have been rolled out, you'll see there are 20 meatballs. Like I said, I typically double because our family is big and they're big eaters, so they're like 3 to 4 meatballs per person. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take them and brown them. And this is a big enough pan, and I know the rule is do not crowd your pan or else they'll steam, and probably could have been a little bit warmer to hear a sizzle, but this is not my kitchen typically, so I'll just put those in. And what we really just want to do is brown them.
So while these are
Yes.
browning, do we want to talk a little bit about what you see as some of the challenges that we are facing in the Richmond community that you think Reynolds is going to be positioned well in the years to come to help, sort of address those
Sure.
issues?
Yeah, I'll say 3: talent, talent, and talent.
Oh.
Yep, absolutely. In every way. Talent on our faculty and staff. A lot of people left higher education over the pandemic, and so recruiting people has been a difficult thing across the academy. Talent, our employers desperately need qualified, skilled, and educated talent. And developing talent, that, our students. Those are the things that I think are kind of the trifecta. What I continue to think about all the time is how we are, how we can help build that talent pipeline that so many of our employers need across professions: nurses, chefs, technologists. I got skilled trades. There are so many different places that are starved for talent in our region, and I think one of the bigger challenges for us, quite honestly, Lindsay, is ensuring that the college has the resources to be able to answer. It is very expensive to run an operation like this. It is very expensive to open up simulation labs for our nurses. It's very expensive to open up welding labs and electrician programs and our automotive program. And so, I think that's also a challenge is with our existing funding formula is that the same formula that's going to help us develop the 21st century learning environments that we want our students to be learning in. So that continues to be a challenge. But the talent piece, that's really what I'm always thinking about, is developing the talent, recruiting the talent, and filling the talent pipeline for our employers.
Yeah, and I think we would be remiss not to thank all those community partners and donors we have out in the community who are really helping to make some of the amazing things that we're doing here at Reynolds happen, especially sort of recently in our downtown campus. We have done a lot of work, a lot of capital improvements and renovations, and really stepping it up, not just 1 notch, but 2, 3, 4, 5 notches in some of the really cool equipment that we have for our students to practice on.
Lindsay, thank you for that, because quite honestly, we would not be able to do what we've done were it not for the generosity, philanthropy, people giving their time, their treasure, their talent, it's just simply not possible given, you know, the funding formula for community colleges. So without those very people that you're talking about, we would not be able to do, we wouldn't be standing here in this facility.
That's right.
Our nurses would not be in the facility that they're in downtown. They just wouldn't be there. And so to all of those who believe in our mission, to all of those who continue to give their time, their treasure, and their talent so that we can more fully live out on our mission, it's a heartfelt thank you from me and all of the people at Reynolds, and especially our students. Especially our students.
That's right.
And then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to start putting these right on there. Same thing. This guy needs a little more time, so we'll let him go. And we are, as I mentioned before, we have been preheating an oven to 350 degrees. And these guys will go in for about 15, 16 minutes. And then you're going to put them in your favorite sauce. Again, I told you the kind I make mine, but in a pinch, I use Rao's, but you can use whatever sauce you like and whatever your pocketbook permits.
All right.
So now, we are going to take these meatballs and we are going to put them in that 350 degree oven. Okay, so through the magic of television,
That's right.
16 to 20 minutes have passed. So we're going to take these babies out of the oven. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to put them right back.
for ya.
Oh, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
of course.
We're going to put these right back in that sauce that's been heating, as I mentioned. And now what I would normally do at home is probably let them simmer in there for like another half hour so that the sauce is flavoring the meat is flavoring the sauce. But I think this is going to be just fine because I am looking at my hungry friends in this beautiful demonstration theater, and I want to make sure they get something to eat. So we're just going to put that in the sauce there. So now we're going to fully cover them in the sauce. And again, if we were at home, this would probably be simmering for a little while, but I mentioned I think it's going to be okay. And now what I like to do is when I serve them, whether it's over pasta or sometimes I'll make stuffed shells and make them on the side, because most people in my family are carnivores. If I just made stuffed shells, which are very good, they'd be like, where's the meat?
Yeah.
So it's either like grilled sausages or meatballs. So what I like to do is generous with the sauce. We're going to do 2 meatballs here. And then I like to grate just a little bit of fresh Parmigiano Reggiano on here. Which one is that? Aha.
It's melting. That looks good. All right, first let's get our taste testers over here. You promised us, Dr. Pando, your Tuscan chef.
Oh, yes. So many of you know that I spent 16 years of my career at Hudson County Community College, and it, like Reynolds, has a fairly prominent culinary program. And we had a chef series, a celebrity chef series, and the chef was Anne Burrell. Who prepared in Tuscany in her Italian kitchen. And so it was Anne Burrell who was brought in as a celebrity chef, and I learned my meatballs from Anne Burrell.
That's awesome.
So that's it. That's Paula Pando, actually Anne Burrell's meatballs, and it's the key entry to any holiday party that I'm invited to in New Jersey. Got to bring the meatballs.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this episode of Dishin' with Paula, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you all so much. Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New
Happy New
Year.
Year.